Regarding the voice you heard in describing A Course in Miracles, does it come from outside or from within?
There's nothing that I would call ordinary audition about this at all. It doesn't really... It's a curious thing, and it will be very difficult to explain. Somebody asked me, was it as though your hand was moving? No, I wrote perfectly voluntarily in response to. I call it a voice, but a voice has sounds, or sounds as though it has something to do with hearing. I didn't hear anything. I think it's a sort of hearing that you can't really describe. It doesn't have anything to do with ears or waves hitting a drum or anything on that order. I don't really know. I think maybe I'm using the wrong word when I say hear. I sort of recognized it. It was very rapid. I could even, if I didn't catch a phrase, I could sort of say, would you mind doing that again? You know.
This was in your mind?
This is strictly mental. Otherwise I would consider it hallucinatory activity.
Hey there, this is Barry. I want to thank you for being here and helping me get my new channel off the ground. Today I'd like to talk about the origin of the classic book called A Course in Miracles. Like many others, I've pondered this quite mysterious link between the inspiration, authorship, and divine communication that we find in this spiritual classic we call A Course in Miracles. So I want to look at it today from a few different angles: the psychological, the metaphysical, the literary, and the spiritual. So firstly, let's consider the psychological angle regarding Helen Schucman's mind and voice. I understand that A Course in Miracles was dictated or channeled through Helen Schucman's mind, so it obviously was affected by her mind's filter. Helen Schucman was a highly intelligent and classically trained psychologist with a poetic sensibility and a deep, if conflicted, religious background. She was a professor of medical psychology at Columbia University in New York City. And Helen had an extensive knowledge of psychology, philosophy, and Christian theology. Some argue that her subconscious could have synthesized these elements into a coherent text, drawing on deep internal archetypes and personal conflicts. Freud might have said that she externalized an inner higher self. But here's the rub. Course is remarkably consistent in voice, philosophy, and cadence, even in iambic pentameter at times. Over 1,200 pages of dense metaphysical teachings rarely contradict. They use consistent definitions of terms and carry a moral and a logical coherence that is difficult to sustain over a few hundred pages, let alone in a process done part-time over a period of 7 years. That alone seems to stretch the subconscious genius hypothesis to its limit. And secondly, let's look at the metaphysical spiritual angle regarding divine channeling. The Course claims to have been dictated by Jesus, not in a dogmatic Christian sense, but in a more universal, symbolic, and a metaphysical representation of Christ consciousness. Whether one takes that literally or symbolically, the author of the Course seems to be speaking from a realm beyond ordinary human thought. The teachings reflect a non-dualistic metaphysics that would have been foreign to most Western thinkers at the time, especially way back in the 1960s. If it was Jesus or some other expression of divine intelligence dictating or impressing the material, it would explain the elevated, loving, yet logically rigorous tone, the profound internal consistency, the transformation that it inspires in readers worldwide. Even Helen herself, who was often uncomfortable with the Course, said, "I know it's true, I just don't believe it." And thirdly, let's consider the literary mystical angle, as a kind of modern scripture, some scholars and mystics regard the Course as a kind of contemporary scripture, like other revelatory works, for example, the Bhagavad Gita, the Tao, or even the Urantia book. The Course seems to operate on a level of consciousness that speaks beyond the intellect, directly to something deeper in the human soul. When you read the Course, it's not just the ideas that transform you, it's the frequency behind the words. Many have said it reads them while they are reading it. That kind of experiential resonance is difficult to explain unless one assumes it came from a higher source. And fourthly, let's look at the idea of a co-creation between dimensions. You see, here's my view. A Course in Miracles feels like a collaborative transmission, a kind of co-creative bridge between a non-physical intelligence, perhaps Christ consciousness, and a brilliant but conflicted human vessel, namely Helen. She provided the language, the cultural framing, and the psychological lexicon, and the Source provided the spiritual architecture and loving authority. Like stained glass filtering sunlight, her personality colored the transmission, but the light itself seems to have come from beyond her personal mind. So, while Helen couldn't have dreamed it up in the ordinary sense, she may have been uniquely qualified by temperament, conflict, brilliance, and timing to receive it. And maybe that's the miracle. Not that a human created it, but that a human allowed it. If we ask whether it was Jesus in the traditional sense, we probably ask the wrong question. The better one might be, does the voice in the Course speak from a consciousness that is recognizably higher, more loving, and more whole than ordinary human thought? If you, like many individuals, answer yes, then it may not matter what name we give to the Source. What matters is its effect on the heart and mind. So thanks much for listening. Just wanted to mention that I'm in the process of getting this channel recognized in the so-called algorithm. So I would be grateful if you would consider subscribing or giving us a like. I'd be very grateful. Much love and thanks. Talk to you soon.